First of all, very good morning and welcome back to the course of your control system engineering. So in the last lecture, we are discussing about the examples of the control system and the difference between the open loop and closed loop system. So today we will move ahead for the modelings of the system. So let me share some of the PPTs for the today lecture so that we can continue our discussion. So as you can see, as I said earlier, that we are done with what is control system, what is open loop, what is closed loop, which one is more feasible. We have discussed everything about it. Now we are going to continue about the discussions on modeling, that how to model a system. Right now we are just drawing some of the blocks, that this is the block of a system, this is the forward, this is the backward. But what is inside the block? What is the mathematics inside it? How to test it for different input and output? This we have to discuss in today's lab. So if I talk about the outcome that we are mapping particularly for today lecture, so we are still on the first course outcome only. We are still understanding the controlling mechanism of linear systems. We are still understanding it, and we will start analyzing once we are done with the modeling as well. So the today objective for the lecture is what are the different types of system, the classification of the systems, and how the control is working in terms of the linear systems and non-linear system, the control logic of the LTI system. This is what we are going to discuss, and apart from it, we are going to focus how to model a system. It may be a mechanical model, it may be electrical model. We have to work on both the models, because if you look around the surroundings, you will find all the control systems have a combination of electrical or mechanical. Electrical and electronics are a same part, so they are a combination of electronics or mechanical. So we should be able to model a gear system, we should be able to model a transformer as well. So don't worry, we don't require a special mathematics for them. Whatever you have studied in your previous semester in your school classes as a fundamental laws of Newton's or the pendulum's laws, pneumatics laws, all will be work here. So nothing special, we have to just configure all these laws to model a system. But before starting modeling, we have to focus the types of a system, which type of system we are modeling. So let me just launch a very short poll for you, so that I come to know that the objective for the today lecture is clear to you or not. So click on the yes or no, that the objectives for today lecture is clear to you or not. So fortunately you have discussed about the systems like linear, variant, static, dynamic, etc. in your previous semesters, in signal systems especially. So we are going to use that knowledge. We are going to use that knowledge and apply this knowledge on the modeling of the systems. So I will just take a small amount of time to recall these systems only. So I can see all of you are saying yes only. So nothing in no, and few of you are still pending to attempt the poll. So attempt the poll right now, hurry up. So I think it's time to move forward. So if you see, we can divide the system into n number of parts. Depending upon the input and output behavior, we may divide into 4 parts. A system can be a linear, or it may be a non-linear, it may be a static, or it may be a dynamic system. It may be time invariant system, or it may be time variant system. It may be a causal system, or it may be a non-causal system. In your previous semesters in DSP, in signal systems, you have heard the term LTI, linear time invariant, and you have applied a lot of techniques to understand the stability of the LTI system, right? So you know about these systems, and I am just taking only few minutes to revise those systems so that we can move ahead and focus on the working of or the modeling of the systems. So let's discuss each one of them one by one. So you will see linear system. If I say if I take an example, a resistor, an ideal resistor. Talking about an ideal resistor. An ideal resistor is one of the best example of a linear system. If you are because if you say, if you think that it's not an ideal, you will have an effect about the temperature as well, that with the rise of the temperature, etc., etc. I'm not considering those. I am saying an ideal resistor. And if you see the example of a diode is an example of a non-linear system. We can model the system with the help of experiment or with the help of some mathematics. If I know the Ohm's law, I can say that I know the Ohm's law, and according to my Ohm's law, I can simply write my V is equal to IR. I can simply write my V is equal to IR, and I can measure my current. I will say if I increase my voltage to twice, my current will also be twice. If I increase my voltage to 4 times, my current will also be 4 times. If I increase my voltage to 6 times, my current will also be 6 times. And I can make a graph over here. 1 for 1, 2 for 2, 3 for 3, 4 for 4, and so on. And the graph will be a linear graph. So it is a linear system. But in case of non-linear system, if you look at the diode, we know if the forward current of a diode can be written in terms of reverse current. And the exact equation is like that: IR e की power VF upon eta times of VT minus 1, where eta is the efficiency factor for silicon. Just wait a minute. Eta is 1 and for germanium eta is 2. And this VF is the forward voltage and VT is the temperature dependent voltage, that is T upon 11,650. And you know, in case of semiconductor, this temperature voltage is very important, because at the room temperature, the semiconductor start behaving as a conductor. But at 0 degree Kelvin, it is just an insulator. So again, diode is not a simple one like a resistor. If you see the graph of it, you will come to know that initially the graph is like that. After knee voltage, it's come to the saturation, and after saturation, it will come to the breakdown. And same kind of behavior in reverse voltage as well. So you will see that everything is depending upon either on the mathematics or on your experimental model. So by looking at the experimental graph, we can say it's a linear or non-linear system. By looking at the mathematics as well, we can say it's a linear or non-linear system. But apart from the fact, sometimes we don't have the simple equation just as straight as it is. Even if you are looking to this equation, we can simply comment by looking at the equation. I can say that if I increase the voltage to twice, my current will not be twice, it will be e की power twice. And what is e की power twice? 2.3 raised to the power 2. So it is not 4, it is greater than 4. So it's a non-linear system. But sometimes the equations are not so simple or straightforward. So to test the linearity, and non-linearity, we can simply apply the superposition principle and homogeneity. What we are saying, if we are having a system, let's say output y depend upon the function of x. Output y depend upon the function of x. Output y depend upon the function of x, where x is your input. So if I say it is if superposition is applicable, and what is superposition theorem? If let's say n number of input are applied to a system and you are collecting the output, then if you separately apply each input separately and just measure the each output separately, if it is a linear system, the total output will be a combination of the individual output. Or in short, I can say, if this is my system, this is your input x1, this is your input x2, input x3. I have an output y1, output y2, and output y3, which is giving me a total output y. According to superposition theorem, apply only x1, collect y1, apply only x2, collect y2, apply only x3, collect y3. If total output y is the total output when all the inputs are acting at a same time, is equal to y1 plus y2 plus y3. It is a linear system. But if it is not equal to it, it's a non-linear system. Similarly, multiplying a constant with the input will not going to affect the performance. It is homogeneity. If you look at this example, you will see in this example, if I say my output is, let's say I have output as V1 upon R for first input and second input is your V2 upon R. So you will clearly see that this will be equal to y1 plus y2. But in this case, if I write my output is v1 plus v2, and v1 plus v2 will be equal to e ki power v1 into e ki power v2. This is not equal to e ki power v1 plus e ki power v2. So it's a short non-linear system. So either you can see directly with the help of the experiment, you can take the mathematics and test for the linearity and non-linearity. So again, in case of a closed loop system, if it is non-linear, it will adopt the system according to the non-linearity. But if it is an open loop system, it's a non-linear system, it will be very difficult. We have to keep on revising the calibration of this linearity again and again. So I hope this problem is clear, and if this problem is clear, now let me know. I have just launched a very short question for you, and I know this is very simple, but this is important. I have to make sure before starting the complex mathematical modeling that you are well aware about the configurations of the system. So question is there in front of you. Just attempt the poll right now. The question is that a system is given in which, of course, x is your input and y is your output, and the system, the function is defined as cos of xn. Just comment on it that it's a linear system or not. If you think it's a linear system, click on yes. If you think it's non-linear system, click on no. So again, n number of methods are there. Either by looking at the equation, you may comment, but cos is not so simple that just by looking we can comment. If you remember the graph of the cos, how the waveform of the cos is. So this is the waveform of the cos. By looking at the waveform, you may comment. But again, sometimes it is not that much simple. For which particular interval of time we have to consider. So again, if it is not possible like this, then you can apply superposition theorem and you can apply homogeneity principle as well. So if they are applicable, it will be a linear system. If it is not applicable, it will be a non-linear system. So hurry up, I can still see only near about 25 students attempted the poll, and I am getting a mixed response, although it's one of the simplest question. So just attempt this poll right now, and I will recommend if you are having any confusion, try for superposition theorem. And if we are not clear, if I say replace xn by x1 of n plus x2 of n, test for your yn. Let's say this will be your y dash n, and test for y double dash n, and y double dash n is your y1 n plus y2 n. If y dash n is equal to y double dash n, it will be a linear system. If it is not equal to double dash n, it will be a non-linear system. So if I say cos of x1n plus x2n, will it equal to cos of x1n plus cos of x2n? Can I write like this? This is 2. Cos A plus B is equal to cos A plus cos B? No, not at all. This is not equal. Superposition theorem is not applicable. In fact, cos A plus B is what? Cos A into cos B minus sin A into sin B. Or you can simply test for homogeneity. And how to test for? Cos of k times of xn. Can I write like this? K cos of x n. Can I take a constant out of the angle? No, not at all. So what it is? It's a linear or non-linear? It is short non-linear system. Or just look at the graph. Look at the output waveform it is. The way output waveform it has. So the waveform is not linear. You will see it is not like this. But in fact it is changing. So it is a periodic wave, but it is not a linear wave. So these simple basics should be clear into your mind, right? So I can see a mixed response of yes or no. So I hope now you are able to do so. You are able to attempt this, that if you are given any complex or any simple example, you can comment on it. It's a linear or non-linear system. Similarly, if we move forward, let me know still if you have any doubt. If I move forward, then the second type is your static system and dynamic system. So again, it's not that much complex. Static is one which depend upon a particular interval of time only, means at present only. But what is dynamic system? Which depend upon past as well as future. And when I'm saying past and future, you should remember about the number systems that you have studied in the NAS. And while drawing the number system, you are saying this is my time axis and this is my amplitude axis. This is my time axis and this is my amplitude axis. And I can write it as 0, this is my 1, this is my 2, this is my -1 and this is my -2. If present time is 0, if present time is 0, dynamic depend upon future inputs as well as past. Okay, Harshit? Dynamics not only depend upon future, but it also depend upon past. Okay, so this is what I am going to discuss with some examples as well. So if you remember about the signaling system, then you will find out that normally we are saying that right now I am at 0 time. So this is my present. And when I'm saying plot f of t minus 1, so this t minus 1 is on the right side and this t plus 1 is on the left side. So normally when we are giving delay, we are moving right side. When we are giving the advances, we are moving left side. So in short, I can say this is my past, a positive axis is my past if present time is 0 then only, and negative axis is my future. So I hope you will understand. You will see that what we have, we are having a time axis, and in case of my time axis I have different options. So this is my, where is my, yes, here I am. So this is my present, this is my past, and this is my future. So past you are writing like t minus k, like t minus 1, t minus 2, t minus 3. Future you are writing t plus 1, t plus 2, t plus 3, because it is not possible to plot the equation on a number system every time when you have to detect for a static or dynamic system. So if you see any equation which is having like t minus 1 or t minus 2, or in fact t plus 1 or t plus 2, it is a dynamic system. But if it is depending upon t only, then it's a static system. For example, a feedback system is what? In case of a feedback system, we are taking the past output. This is yt. And let's say I am having a z transform. You have studied the DSP, right? So I will write it as yt minus 1. So what I am considering? I am considering the input as a combination of one past output. Adaptive delta modulation. Delta modulation, you have studied in ACS. What is delta modulation? They are saying why you are sending the, let's say if you are transmitting my video signal, why you are sending the video signal again and again and again. If you look at my frame, if you look at my video, my background is fixed. It is not changing. And even if you see, only my hands are moving. The only moving parts are my hand. Rest most of the things are constant. The background is constant, the table is constant, the chair is constant. Only send those video signal which are changing. and let the remain signal as it is. So we will just send the change. It will save the bandwidth, save the time, right? So a lot of advantages are there. So it's a dynamic system. So anything which is depending upon present only, it's a static, and anything which is depending upon the future or past is a dynamic system. For example, resistor is a static, but inductor or capacitor, you know about the RC constant, so it has a property of saving some values. So they are example of a dynamic system. And they normally, if you are just preferring the previous value, what you required? You required the memories. Present system depend upon the present input only. Giving one, what you are getting like that. But if it is considering the previous value, what you require? Memory. So dynamic systems do require some memories, right? So I hope it is clear, the static and the dynamic. Similarly, we can classify it into one more type, like time variant and time invariant system, known as TIV or TV. So one is time variant, second is time invariant. So time variant, again, what I have to say, the time variant system are those which are depending upon the time. For example, let's say you are doing the chemical equation, or let's say you are doing the fabrication of your PCB. And how to fabricate a PCB? By dipping a double-sided copper clad in a ferrichloride solution. And the time taken for the fabrication of the PCB, it depends upon the presence of the ultraviolet light. So if you are doing this in the daytime, the time will be less. If you are doing the same in the night time, the time will be double, almost double, or maybe more than double. Similarly, if you are taking an example of a photosynthesis, for photosynthesis, presence of light is important, and light is only present on the daytime. So it is depending upon time. You cannot do the photosynthesis in night. All the equations are same for photosynthesis if you are writing a mathematical equation. So those which are independent of time. If you are doing the operation of a metal, that how the current is passing in a metal, it will pass in a different scenario at night, it will pass in a different scenario in day. No, it is not so. It is time invariant system. And when I'm saying day and night, I know some temperature effects are there, but for metals, temperature effect is negligible. It is not noticeable. It is there in case of semiconductors, the room temperature and all. So it is time invariant and some is time variant, right? So normally, if in your previous semester you have studied, normally we are working on LTI system, means linear time invariant system, that are linear in nature, and time invariant, LTI, linear time invariant. So how to check for linearity? We have seen. How to check for invariance, that it is invariance of time. So I hope again, if you recall, there are a very good example of it, that just give a delay to the input, and if the output is not depending upon this delay, you are getting the same output irrespective of the time. I'm sorry. Irrespective of the time, then it is a time invariant system. Okay, now again, one of the most important is causal and non-causal system. And while studying the Z transform or many Fourier transform, you are saying, let us consider the system or the signal to be causal by default. Normally, you are considering the system to be a causal on its own. You are not considering the negative values. What you are writing when you are integrating, you are saying 0 to infinity. But definitions are from minus infinity to 0, plus infinity. You are saying I am considering system to be a causal. So what is causal? If you see, the causal system is one which is depending upon present or past. But if it depend upon future as well, it is non-causal system. On the other hand, there is a difference between dynamic and non-causal system and causal system. Dynamic depend upon past as well as future, but causal system depend only and only on past or present. It doesn't depend upon future, but non-causal may have future as well. Again, if I have to draw the number system, then this is my present 0, this is my 1, 2, This is my -1, this is my -2. So this is what? This is future, this is what? This is past, this is what? This is present. So if you have any negative values, negative means this is what? This is your t plus k. If you have anything like +1, +2, it is non-causal system. So if any equation is having +1, +2, it is non-causal. It depends upon future. But if it is t-1, t-2 or t only, then it is a causal system. And of course, most of the real life system are causal. Right now, if you are looking at my video, you can see my recording for the past outputs. You can see my recording at the present, but what I am going to speak right now, approximately right now the time is 10:30. What I am going to speak at 10:40, how do you know? You can, at max, you can make an estimate of it only. But what I am going to speak is not depending upon what I am going to speak at 10:40. But what I am speaking right now may depend upon what I had speak at 10:20, because I am following some sequence of the topics that once this topic is clear, then I will cover this topic. So right now the live streaming is the best example of a causal system. You may see the past by going to the recorded video. You can see the present video right now, but what I am going to speak at 10:40, even you don't know or even I don't know, because it totally depends upon the next time. What I am going to speak at 35. If I am able to cover my topic at 35, then I will go to the next topic at 10:40. So predicting the future is a very difficult task. So normally most of the real life system are causal, but non-causal system are also there. For example, if you see, in case of a non-causal system, weather forecasting is an example of a non-causal system. Nowadays, all of you are having the smartphones and you are using the AccuWeather app just to check when the rain is there or when what will be the temperature for tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Missile guidance system is also an example of a non-causal system. So what they are doing, estimate. They are estimating. So that's why in most of the definition, instead of -infinity to infinity, what we are saying, 0 to infinity, because -infinity to -1 is your future, 0 is your present, and 1 to infinity is your past. So this everything you have studied in your previous semester, right? So I am just giving a very quick review of the same in a single lecture only. You have spent almost a semester on understanding these systems. So I hope causal and non-causal systems are also clear to you. So if it is clear, then let me launch a poll. Here you go. So the poll is live in front of you. The question is there on the slide. A system is given with x as input and y as output, of course the standard one, and output depend upon x square t, not xt. Output depend upon x square t and x t minus 3. You are very well about the number system, right? So if this is my number system, this is my time, and normally we are considering 0 as the current time. So this is my present, +1 +2 is my past, -1 -2 is my future. So this is your future, this is your past, and this is your present. So anything which is depending upon future as well is a non-causal system, and which is depending upon present and past only, it is a causal system. So use your mind, use any of the method and let me know which type of system it is. It is causal or it is non-causal system. So, or it may be a time varying. You know how to check for time varying. Is it depending upon time or not? Or none of this. I didn't understand your question, Harshit, what you are saying. T minus 3. You are saying T minus 3 means T is equal to 3. No, it's mathematics. If they are saying T minus 3 means T minus 3. T minus 3 means if current time is 10:33, subtract 3 units of time from it. So the event has occurred, let's say unit of time is minute. Here unit of time is minute. So I will say if current time is 10:33, so this event happened at 10:30. So this is what t minus 3, right? So they are subtracting 3 from t, means present time. T is your present time, whatever the present time it is. So past 3 minutes. If they are writing t plus 3, future 3 minutes. If they are writing t, that is present only. So use your mind, and of course it's a linear or not, it is very much clear, but right now I'm not asking about linear or non-linearity. I'm just asking about the causal, non-causal or time varying. Of course, by looking at the equation, you will see that the time varying nature of it, but right now you have to just focus on causal and non-causalities. So I can see that, okay, majority of the students are going to a one option only, and still almost 20 students are left to attempt this poll. So attempt this poll right now, hurry up, so that we can move ahead with the next discussion. We can move ahead with the next discussion. Attempt the poll, hurry up, bachcho. What is the issue in not attempting the poll? If you didn't understand the logic, let me know. I will repeat that part. Because once I say, okay, let's start modeling a transformer, or we'll say, okay, let's start transforming a car, means we have to model a car. A car have a gear mechanism, a car have a friction mechanism, a car have a steering mechanism, a car have a fuel combustion mechanism, etc. All this mechanism has to be converted into some of the mathematical differential laws. And while understanding or applying the mathematical differential law, you have to be understand about the type of system it is. Is the present output in output of your car depend upon the future output or not? You are going to use your car, let's say you are going from Delhi to Chandigarh today, but after 2 days you have planned to go to Delhi to Kolkata. Will it going to affect your performance for the Delhi to Chandigarh to Delhi? No. But if earlier day before yesterday you have used your car to travel from the south to the north, will it perfect your future? Again, it depends which model you are considering. If you are considering the friction model, the tire has been used rigorously for traveling such thousands of kilometers. But if you are considering the steering mechanism or etc., which are not depending upon the friction and all, then it may not be. Applying the Newton's law is a different thing, but applying this type of the system is a different thing. Okay, anyhow, so I can see majority of the students are saying option number 1, right? So yes, of course, it's a causal system. So as I said, it's very simple to identify. Anything which is depending upon t or t minus 3 or t minus k is causal. If you will see any like t plus k, it's a non-causal system. And if you see x t square, so I can write like this. This is my, let me rub everything. This is my t, this is my t square. At t is equal to 0, t square is 0. At t is equal to 1, t square is 1. At t is equal to 2, t square is 4. At t is equal to 3, t square is 9. So if present time is 3, it is targeting 9. So you can see clearly if it targeting future or not, you can comment on it. But fortunately right now, it is not t square, it is x square of t. So only magnitude is squared, time is still the same. So it is a short example of a causal system only. Apart from this, as you know, while processing a system, we are using the discrete. So apart from continuous system, we may have discrete systems as well. So anything which is dealing with the discrete input and output is a discrete system. But remember, the world is analog. The nature is analog. If we are saying that the time is here 10:38 and you are looking at your digital watch and you are saying it's digital time, no. You are reading 10:38. You are not saying your time is here 1:00:10:01 and all. You are reading in analog only. So processing is a different thing, but reading is a different thing. So nature is analog, but processing of digital is simple one. It is error free, and we can do the error control and coding as well. We can detect the error where it is, in which bit it is, and we can repair it. We can add parity bits, and lot of advantages are there for a discrete. But ultimately, you have studied the sampling and all. We have to reconvert the signal back to the analog, back to the analog only. So we have, fortunately, you have studied the different digital transform, like you have studied the DFT for discrete Fourier transform, you have studied the Z transform as well for the discrete signal. So you know about it. So we may have a discrete and we may have a continuous signal, but ultimately at the end we have to convert everything into the continuous signal only. So this was all about the types of the system that you have studied earlier. Now this knowledge we are going to apply for the today lecture, that is how to model a system. How to model a system. Okay. So again, if you want to model a system, as we have discussed earlier, what we are having some plants on which we have to apply the control, and there should be some equivalent mathematical model for the plant. If you are, let's say, designing a system, you are designing a boiler, and you will say, okay, this is the block diagram of a boiler. This will be my furnace, and on this furnace, I am taking the feedback of the temperature. I will add the feedback to the desired temperature, and I will get an error signal, and I will continue like this. But you don't know what will happen at 10,000. You will see it will also work. Do you have the mathematics for it? How to represent it? What is the y in terms of f of x, where x is the input and y is the output? If you know the mathematical formula for it, you can test it. What will happen if x is 10,000? You can have an idea about the y. If y is so high, is the walls of the furnace are so strong to hold the such a hot water? Have you considered this input as well, that the thickness of the walls or the strongness of the walls of the boiler? Similarly, if we are making an self-driven car, you are talking about the friction model, you are talking about the pedals of the car, and you are saying force is equal to mass into acceleration. So you will get the displacement as m of dx by dt square. But what about the rest of the models? You have to test it, and for testing you may require some software, just like we have done in case of last semester while designing the antennas, but they are depending upon what? Maxwell equation at the back end. So they also have some models. They do have some boundary conditions that you have studied in the EMFT. So whenever we are making any model, we have to consider an equivalent mathematical equations for it. Or it is not like that we have to control like a resistor, capacitor, or a circuit diagram only, a processor only. No. The real life is a combination of mechanical and electronics. Even if you are designing an electrical car, it has a gear mechanism, it has a rotation mechanism, it has a steering mechanism. So it's a combination of mechanical and electronics. So you should be comfortable in designing mechanical as well as electronics. So I will discuss with you everything about the mechanical and electronics, and don't worry, it's not complex. The basic school information that you have studied about the mechanics in the form of the frictions, the spring, the torque, the Reynolds number will be sufficient. This everything will be sufficient. So we are going to use them only. So let's see how to model a system. There are three options available. One is that you can use a differential equation model, because fortunately in mathematics we have studied a lot about differential equation, how to find a solution for differential equation, the auxiliary function, the component integral. The solution is your ax plus ci. What will happen if x to the power n is there, integral is there, what will happen if denominator is there, binomial is there. Lot of study you have studied in mathematics. Or if you're not comfortable in the mathematics, then fortunately in signal and system, in NAS and DSP, study about the transfer function model. Transfer function is a Laplace transform of output upon input. So if we know the transfer function, I can find out the output by multiplying the transfer function with the input. If I'm able to model a mathematical model for transfer function, I can multiply the same with any input to get to estimate what output it have. And always take the Laplace transform. Why so? If you are modeling a fan, the input is voltage, the output is torque. So if you are taking a ratio of them, it should be of same units. So output is mechanical, input is electrical. So they should be in the same form. That's why we have to use always Laplace transform. So the knowledge of Laplace and the knowledge of inverse Laplace will act as a prerequisite here. So before coming to today's lecture, revise the basic concepts or properties of the Laplace transform or inverse Laplace transform, so that when we are doing the mathematics and when we are doing the numericals, we should not be confused that how I have written s square for d2x by dt square. What is the property of Laplace transform for differential? Multiplication by s. What is the property of Laplace transform for integral? Division by x. What is the Laplace transform of t ki power n? What is the Laplace transform for constant? What is the Laplace transform for the three standard signal? Okay. So that's all from my side for today lecture. In next lecture, we will continue with the modeling of some mechanical and electronic systems. So we now move forward for your next lecture.